funnel. One of the downsides, though, and you touched on it a bit, Chrissy, is like the credit game. Once you do tie everything back to one thing, everyone then starts using that attribution model as a way to assign credit on who's doing the best job, right? In terms of teams and stuff like that. So Alison, I know you've worked on so many of these projects for our clients, and we see all of these problems kind of play out in different ways around the credit game. And I know you've always had some great advice with, improve, not prove. But what's your latest thoughts around how you can not fall into the trap of the credit game while still getting the benefits out of a funnel attribution model, which is tying back to a single touch?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the credit game, it's important to remember that in an ideal world, both sales and marketing should have a part in every successful closed won deal. So it's somewhat pointless to assign credit because sales touched it first, marketing touched it later. If marketing touched it first, sales touched it later. And so we're all part of the process of trying to win over customers. So yeah, I would first say that, and then in terms of the funnel metrics, like assigning a particular touch point to whether it was an outbound that started the journey or whether it was marketing that started the journey, it's more for using that data to then um, kind of optimize what you're doing rather than prove what you're doing. Because if, for instance, you're MQLing a bunch of, say content syndication leads and you're not seeing those convert, I mean, that's a signal to you to then, do we need to stop doing some of our content syndication? Or should we reallocate that budget towards, an in-person event or what we are seeing convert? And so that's really how you should be using that data. And then, it is also helpful in terms of measuring attainment towards goals and seeing trends. Like, okay, we generated 100 MQLs last week, and 50 of those have converted. And this week we generated 200, and only 50 of those converted. So the conversion rate's dropping. So, kind of using that data to then analyze what to stop doing, what to start doing. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, that's kind of why we think the credit game isn't necessarily worth playing because it's a team sport.
Yeah, like I think that people need to think about this as like, okay, this is like a relay race. It's not just like 100-meter dash, like 100-meter sprint, like who won the race. It's more just like
I would say it's
there's
more of when people tie one leg together and then they have to two people and
an
they have to
egg,
run.
an egg.
Three-legged race.
The three-legged race, yeah. You have like two people, they tie one leg together, and the sales and marketing have to run, right?
Yeah.
It's not always just one hand off to the other. You're actually like in partnership the whole way through.
I think I agree with that, like a three-leg race, like marketing and sales working together. But when you think about the funnel metrics, there are these explicit kind of handoffs or people that are kind of, kind of owning that stage a little bit more. Of course, there's like nuance to that. But when you think about even some of the like top and middle funnel, like if we're seeing that the conversion rate from sales ready, especially from different sources, are not converting well to say meetings, or they're getting disqualified or recycled, kind of like what Alison was talking about, there's actionable data for that team to do something about it. Whether we need to figure out like, okay, maybe it's a source thing where it's too early on the marketing side to send them over, or say we're measuring outbound and the conversion rate is really low. Okay, maybe marketing needs to actually partner with sales or SDRs to actually do outbound more effectively, or send them, give them better enablement and training or signals to actually do outbound the right way. And so I'm just a fan of like funnel metrics and funnel attribution because it's just so actionable. I think that's like we're all talking about.
Yeah.
Like you can see insights that you can actually make improvements from. You can give direction to different people that own those parts of the journey and the sales process. And even down to looking at, your pipeline to close, if you want to look at people from certain regions or, even different sources and stuff like that, you can actually then get that back to marketing and say like, hey, we need to do more here, or we need to bring more people into the funnel from these regions, and we're not seeing that. So it's just so actionable. You can create better conversations around it. Multi-touch, in my opinion, you can have great conversations around it, but I feel like it's kind of like handing a novice like cook or something like that, someone who's never been in a kitchen, and you give them like a really sharp knife and like a sous vide or something, and then you're like, go make me like this amazing meal, and they're like, wait, I actually don't know what I'm meant to do with this thing, and they can like also hurt themselves or not do the right thing with
That's a good
those
analogy.
tools. So that's why